Welcome to SCN, or Some Cat News. My name is Zoe, and this is our first episode of a show dedicated to news about cats for people who love cats. Let's face it, cats are one of the cutest and coolest animals in the world. Why wouldn't we want to make a whole news show about all things cat? Our first story is about cats as pets. Cool, right? I have 2 pet cats that my family adopted from the Silicon Valley Humane Society. Their names are Fergus and Biscuit, and they're both American Shorthair cats, which are a domestic breed of cat. They're awesome pets. But what happens when people try and breed wild cats or sell wild cats as pets? This may seem unsafe and not a good idea, but it really happens. And what is even worse is that many times these wildcats are mistreated or even abandoned because they don't behave like pet cats that purr and cuddle in your lap, like this guy. So what happens to a wildcat in this situation? Luckily, there are people who help these cats, and it is a pretty amazing story. For this story, I interviewed Taylor, a keeper from the WildCat Ridge Sanctuary. The WildCat Ridge Sanctuary is a place where they take in wildcats that have been mistreated or were kept in unhealthy environments that made the cats sick or injured them. WildCat Ridge Sanctuary is in the state of Oregon, and they have tigers, lions, bobcats, cougars, servals, cheetahs, mountain lions, and other smaller wildcats. Taylor was able to tell me more about how they help rescue wildcats that need a forever home. This is Taylor, a keeper from the WildCat Sanctuary.
Hi, everybody.
My first question for you is, why does the WildCat Sanctuary exist?
WildCat Ridge Sanctuary exists because there are many animals that are mistreated or used for entertainment purposes in places that may seem like a zoo, but oftentimes they are full of abuse and they neglect animals. And so what WildCat Ridge does is we save those animals from the situations that may be causing them harm or putting them in danger, and giving them a lifetime home where we can take care of them and make sure that they thrive and regain their wild side.
Okay, that sounds like a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
My next question for you is, how do different types of cats come in to live here?
So we have quite a few different types of cats. We have a lot of some hybrid cats, which are domestic cats mixed with a wild cat. And those types of animals are often used as pets or put in breeding situations. And so those people, when they're found, they contact us to rescue them. As far as the bigger cats, like the tigers and the lions, those ones kind of come from bigger zoos, kind of like the Tiger King Zoo, Joe Exotic. And those animals were used for public entertainment, and people were allowed to touch and pet them, which is not healthy or safe for the animal. And so when those facilities are found, people reach out to us, and we are able to remove them from that situation and make sure that they live the lives that they deserve and aren't exploited in any way.
What is important for kids to know about the WildCat Ridge Sanctuary?
It is important. I would say that it's important to know what is and what isn't okay at a zoo. And I believe you have some questions coming up on that. But what to know is that wild animals are not pets, and we should not touch them or treat a tiger like a house cat. We should give them the possibility to remain as wild as possible and prevent other animals from getting stuck in that neglectful situation that we try to keep them away from.
Okay. that's actually like really, I'm like, it's actually like kind of confusing, but like sometimes you're like, I love zoos. So you're like,
Mhm.
everything's like so cool, you get to learn stuff. But like, the confusing part for me is like, there's all these like zoos that like have wild cats and are mistreating them and all. So are there
Mhm.
like any bad zoos?
There are bad zoos, and the good zoos go through certain standards and have to get accredited by higher up organizations. And so there are certain rules that you have to follow. Like, we don't touch our wildcats. They have enough space, grass, natural things in their enclosures. They get fed the right diets. We are close to the public. A bad zoo would be open to the public, with options to pet cubs. Cub petting is a really big problem. And that's where they just bring out a baby tiger that shouldn't have left its mom yet. It's not old enough and it's really unhealthy. And they let people hold it and pet it and take pictures with it. Anything where you can handle an animal like that is typically not a good zoo. And then also places that don't have natural things in their enclosures. So if they're living in like a cement room with no trees or no toys or anything to keep their minds busy, those start to just make them a little bit crazy. And it's really sad to see animals kind of deteriorate that way.
Yeah, it's because I know personally that tigers need space and they like to scratch their paws on trees. So it's actually sad
Yes,
that they don't get their natural environment from what they came from.
definitely. They definitely need that.
And my next question for you is how do we know if we're supporting a good zoo?
So a good zoo, like I said, will have certain licensing and accreditation. Um, if you go to like the Oregon Zoo is a really, really, really good zoo. And they will have the proper environment and they are able to teach you about where the animals come from and the conservation efforts that are being put forth to keep those animals alive and away from extinction, and just kind of teach the public how they can support the wildlife that is living, like that we're sharing our planet with.
Yeah, it's because like I have like been to like zoos where like they have like greenery and like areas where they can climb around. Like I went to a zoo that had a red panda and it had like a whole entire structure and I'm like, wow. So now I have more
Yeah.
clarification on that. They are actually like giving them something to like do like in their natural environment.
Exactly. Another thing that a good zoo would never do is breed their animals to sell or give to people as pets. We find that a lot, and a lot of our servals and bobcats are saved from situations like that. And so people that try to reproduce more animals just for profit, um, can make a really bad zoo. Good zoos also have very good vet teams and medications for animals that need it, whereas the bad ones would just kind of ignore the problem and either hope it gets better or just wait for the animal to pass away. They just don't care that much.
Yeah, that's actually really sad.
Very
So
sad.
my next question for you is the WildCat Ridge Sanctuary is not open to the public to visit, but there are lots of videos on social media about the cats that live there.
Mhm.
Are they really are fun to watch.
Oh my
But
gosh, they're so fun to watch.
yeah.
Um, it's really, really cool, especially when we give them different things for entertainment. Um, a few weeks ago, we got a pinata and we hung it up in one of our mountain lion enclosures. And we had the string and everything, and he was jumping, trying to get it down with his claws. And it's just really fun to see their personality come out when they start to play and they feel comfortable and safe.
But how do they like help the sanctuary and the cats? Like to enter like the other question.
Oh, like the videos online?
Yeah.
So they show that the animals that were taken from bad situations can be put in situations that kind of turn their life around and give them peace. We want to spread awareness of the bad situations so that people know not to kind of support that. Like the cub petting is a good example. We want to make sure people know that's not okay. And so showing the animals that are very happy that came from horrible situations kind of shows people the how things can change and what not to support.
Yeah. I'm like, I would not support petting cubs. But if I didn't know this, I probably would be like, yeah, sure. It's
Like,
not
oh,
gonna
cool,
harm.
it's a tiger. Why
I'm like,
not?
it's a tiger
Mm-hmm.
cub. It's so cute and it's fluffy. But I wouldn't know that what really would be happening. The cub
Right.
would be taken from. They would be taken from their mom, which
Mm-hmm.
would be really sad if I were a mom. And I'd be like, hey, what are you doing to my cub?
Bring my kid back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really helps to have the videos just to keep people in the know of situations like that.
Yeah. Okay, my next question for you is, do you have a favorite cat that you look after?
Oh, that's such a hard question. There are so many cute ones. Um, I do think I have a favorite. Our biggest tiger, his name is Atticus. He is very fluffy and really cute, and he loves to swim in his pool. And we have
Aww.
these these giant heavy duty plastic balls, and they float around in his pool. And what he'll do, I'm going to put my phone so I can show you. He sits on the ball like this and kind of floats around in the water, and he makes the funniest noises. He's just very, very adorable.
Yeah, I'm like, that would be really funny. And my last question for you is, are there organizations that you guys that do the same thing as you guys?
There are a lot of organizations that work together. We're all kind of part of a thing called the Big Cat Alliance, and that brings accredited good zoos and sanctuaries together to save animals from those awful situations. A couple examples are like Safe Haven Sanctuary. Shoot, I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but we do work with quite a few across the country.
Yeah, if there were that many, I would be like, I would have to research them in
Right.
order to like remember them all. But like, wow, I've like only run across you because like of your social media videos that are like so cute of the little kitties.
Oh, I'm so glad you like them. Yeah, our end goal is to eventually not have to exist as a sanctuary, because if we didn't have to exist, that would mean people would stop cub petting, they would stop allowing people to have wild animals as pets. The wildlife would be in the wild and they wouldn't need saving. And so our ultimate goal is to just not be needed anymore. And hopefully one day, with the way some of the laws are going through to prevent wildlife from being pets, we'll get closer to that goal, and the numbers in tigers and other endangered animals will begin to rise in the wild. So that's all of the sanctuaries work toward that same goal.
Yeah, I really hope for that outcome at the end too.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad that I got to talk to you and teach you a little bit about the wildcats.
I really want to thank Taylor for talking with me. I learned a lot about how important it is to let wildcats be wild. The lessons are: let wild animals be free and wild. Don't try and make them into pets. And most of all, we all need to work towards habitat and animal conservation so that one day, like Taylor says, a place like the WildCat Ridge Sanctuary is no longer needed. To end this episode, I hope that you can join me in a moment of cat zen and deep breathing. Isn't that nice? Until next time, I'm Zoe for SCN, and I hope you have a perfectly wonderful day.